I think we all have a good idea why we're here, but I'm going to ask Obed to basically say a couple of things before we start the session. So Obed, over to you.
Please, I'm here.
All right. Okay. Would you want to say something before we start? Like 5 minutes, just introduce a bit of, you guys are celebrating the faculty week and whatnot. Yeah. So if you can just give people an idea of what's going on here, and then we start.
Sure. Definitely. Okay, so good evening, everyone. We are so glad to have each and everyone here on board with us. As those of us who are in school, we all know that we are celebrating we are having our faculty week this week, which started yesterday and going all the way to Saturday. And this evening, being part of our faculty week, we are having an industrial seminar. We have very wonderful people in our midst, very wonderful speakers that are going to educate us. I know there are going to be a lot of things that you will learn, unlearn, and then relearn here as well. So I want each and everyone here to rally behind this. Tell your friends who are yet to join, so that we can all learn a lot this evening.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I thought you had finished because you sort of.
Oh yeah.
But exactly, please continue. Exactly. No, continue. We have time.
Okay. So I just hope that each and everyone here, I just hope that each and everyone here will have a wonderful time with us, and then in the end you all learn a lot, and then hopefully this will be just the first of a lot more that will go on, building the relationship between us and then the alumni out there. Okay, so good evening everyone once again, and then let's enjoy this program.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much, Obed. So I'm going to basically just pin all the panelists. So I've got Hermann here. I'm pinning you, Hermann. So and then Sarkodie, Patrick is here, and Juliet. Guys, thank you for doing this. I think so. I'll introduce each one. So we'll start with Hermann. So Hermann works with Goldman Sachs in London. He's a analyst, right? So he's mainly sort of doing development and stuff like that. I'll let him talk for himself. Patrick is head of IT at Old Mutual. And we've got Juliet, who is a program manager at Viamo. And we've got Kenneth Fletcher, who is an assistant professor of computer science at University of Massachusetts in Boston, USA. Yeah, so we've got quite a number of people here. I think all the people here, Hermann did computer engineering. I think he finished last year, 2020, right? So he's the freshest guy on the panelist. And Patrick, Kenneth, and myself, we are in the same, we all finished computer science 2006. And Juliet finished computer science 2015, right, Juliet? Yeah, all right, great. Okay, so we'll cut straight to the chase. And so I'll start with Hermann. Like, I'm going to ask a couple of questions. So the approach will be, I'm going to ask a couple of questions. Our panelists are going to answer them. And then at the end, there will be room for everybody to ask questions. And, if you've got any questions you want to ask, you can do that, right? So I'll start with Hermann. And the question to you is, and this question will go around to everyone. So you can unmute your mics because we want to have a chat. So Hermann, what was your experience in tech? And when you did your first degree, what sort of experience did you have?
So as you've already mentioned, I did computer engineering, graduated 2020. I had a very nice time in KNUST. I spent much of my time in the study room, but I did lots of things as well. I spent lots of time playing basketball. From Cameroon, so I moved to KNUST, was a new environment, new people. Tried to engage with the student community as well. I was a Mastercard scholar, so I was on scholarship. So I had like the Mastercard family.
Okay.
It was a great time overall. Tried to pick up new things, tried to learn new things, and just tried to be the best of the student I could be.
Okay. So from what you're saying, it looks like you spent a lot more time in the study theater than some of the extracurricular stuff. Is that right, or it's
I mean,
it's an overstatement?
That's the reason why it's extracurricular, right?
I think
it's supposed to be extra.
Some people would disagree with you on that. But okay, so you mentioned Cameroon. So you were not in. I mean, you are not originally from Ghana, right? So you are Cameroonian, and you came in so was it different coming to a different African country to study, without your family? How did you find that?
So it was a bit difficult, because just moving in, the weather, I found the weather very, very hard. It's very hot in Kumasi. Right?
Oh, it's hotter in Ghana than Cameroon.
Yeah, it's very hot.
Okay, wow, that's interesting. I never knew that.
Trying to get new friends, new environment, getting used to the food, getting used to the culture and things like that. So yeah, but it was a great experience overall.
Okay, you enjoyed it.
Yeah, right now I feel like Ghana is my second home. Looking forward to coming there again. Yeah.
That's good. Thank you.
Yeah,
okay,
sure.
So Juliet, I think then the same question goes to you. What was your experience at Tech? Yeah.
Oh, all right. Thanks for the question. I think my experience at Tech, I completed in 2015. And then during my journey in Tech, it was combined with extracurricular activities and then academics. So I'll speak more of the extracurricular activities because I really had myself getting engaged in that. So I was involved in religious activities like church activities. I was involved in leadership positions. I was the secretary for my time, like the computer science secretary for 2013, 2014.
Okay.
And then I also was so much interested in development work like volunteerism, community outreaches, and kind of like stuff. Yes. So whenever there are events, you see me there.
Gosh, you were very busy then. Did you get time to study at all?
That's the question, exactly. So I tried to balance my time though. I think along the line, I'll actually expose what happened.
Okay.
And I also tried to do some form of like contract works or part-time works.
Wow.
Because I was studying. Yeah, so I had a lot of activities going on here and there. So that was my journey in school. Thank you.
Impressive. Patrick, tell us a bit. I mean, how was Tech for you? Like, your experience.
Yeah, for me, I would say that Tech was the first opportunity for me to stay away from parents and being like ordered or asked to do one thing or the other. It was an opportunity to stay on my own. So for me, it was mainly around the books.
Okay.
One
so
thing
you were
I
a
think
bookworm as well.
I regret. One thing I think I would say, can you imagine? Yeah. So one thing I can say is that like anytime I get an opportunity to advise someone who is currently at Tech, basically what I try to say is try and make the best out of the place. The key thing for you should be networking. People should be able to network. People should be able to make friends. We made a couple of them, and as time goes on, I think I'll elaborate more on the importance of networking and what it has done for me. So far.
Okay, but so a lot of your time, was spent studying. Like a lot of it was on the academic side from when you were there.
A lot of it was.
But you think you've got, like, you want to tell people not to do that at some point. So we'll come to that point later on. Okay, brilliant. Our assistant professor Kenneth. So what was your experience?
Well, I think it was kind of good. I'm an introvert, so I think Tech kind of opened up a whole new world for me. I had to forced to talk to people, and that was good. I think eventually it ended up being very good experience. But I didn't spend so much of my time in the books all the time, but I I like music. So
Okay.
I like to play the piano. So at that time I was learning how to play the piano. So I spent quite a little bit of time doing that.
Okay.
And then I had some friends who like movies. So I ended up spending quite a bit of my time watching movies, especially Friday nights and that kind of thing.
Wow.
So,
okay.
But all in all, yeah, I think it was good. It was able to help me to actually come out of my shell. Like,
okay.
Because as I said, I'm an introvert. I would prefer not to talk to anybody, just be in my own corner. But then tech kind of opened up a new world for me. So it was a very good experience. Yeah.
Okay, that's really good. Thank you. So, so assistant professor, like you would have expected that you would have said you were a bookworm, but it looks like you were not. You tried to enjoy tech whilst you were there. So that's really interesting. Okay, so we'll move to our next question, and the next question I'm going to start with Juliet, which is, can you just tell us two things that you wished when you were in tech, you wished you knew those two things about work and career that you didn't know when you were in tech, right? Like, but now that you're working and you've been in industry, you know, are there two things that you wished when you were in tech you knew that you didn't know that you would like to tell the students who are watching?
All right. Thanks for the question. I think yes, there are a number of things that I wished I knew whilst I was in school. One was entrepreneurship. It didn't mean I wasn't taught entrepreneurship. We were taught entrepreneurship. We got it right, but getting it practical, like going deeply into it, was something that I didn't. Although I did it, but I didn't know that was really entrepreneurship. Like I didn't consider it to be a business because I was much more of like working, and then when I'm being paid, I use that to support myself.
Okay.
Besides what parents provide for me, yeah. And then there was the point that I had a couple of friends that were working together. So when we work, I was the team lead when we work, and then we get the money. We share according to how much work we did. And it was quite pain. And the moment we were done, when we share the money, the next contract comes, we do when we go. So it was more like table talk, pick and chop.
Well, you're doing all of this whilst you were studying at tech. I think we might have lost Sandra there. Okay, I think whilst her internet sorts itself out, I'll ask Patrick the same question, and then when Sandra comes on, we will finish up. So Patrick, were there two things that you know now that you wished you knew when you were in tech? Oh, okay, Sandra is back. So, sorry, Patrick. Okay, Sandra, we lost you for we lost you. We lost you a bit. So yeah, we can.
Okay, am I here now?
Yeah, you are. Sorry. So you mentioned entrepreneurship. So yeah, what was the other thing that you wished you knew?
Exactly. So the reason why I stated entrepreneurship was that I wished maybe we could have started a business actually by then. If we had done that, at least maybe today we might have been earning something or something, because it got to a point we didn't have businesses, and that was when the employer had to take away the contract from us. So the next thing would be some sort of like skills development. I actually didn't know that on the field, besides your degree, you need some sort of like certifications. For example, if you have a certification in project management, or maybe a certification in maybe database administration or networking or something, it really boosts your CV. And by then, I actually didn't know much about that. Else, I would have used some of my time to do more of those certification courses, although I did a number, but I actually didn't know how vital it was on the job market. So I think those are the two things that I wished I really did much whilst I was in school. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think because people are joining and sometimes they join unmuted, so can I ask the panelists to just unmute yourself, and then I will stop people from being able to unmute themselves, so you're not interrupted. So can you try to unmute yourself and keep it unmuted? I think Hermann, you are still muted. So if you can unmute yourself, and then I'll stop people from unmuting themselves afterwards, so you're not sort of disrupted. Okay, great. All right. So Patrick, Thank you very much, Sandra, for that. So that was really interesting. And I'd wanted to ask some more questions, but I think because of time, I'll keep it, because I'm still intrigued that you could do all of this with the way the courses are in tech is very, very, it takes a lot of time and effort. But I think we will come to that at some point. So Patrick, what 2 things do you wish you knew when you were in tech?
Yeah, okay, thanks. So for me, I think the key thing for me, at a point I got to know, but I got to know that later in my stay in tech, I got to realize that computer science is not just about programming. Even when you look at the way things work in industries today, you realize that you just don't need a programmer. Even if you would want to program, an application or a web, you will need a quality analyst.
Yeah.
You will need a business analyst. You will need testers. So the whole engineering and the whole programming bits, it's not all about the whole computing is not all about
it's not
programming.
about programming.
It's not about programming. So that was one of the things I learned, but I learned it later. And then the second one is mainly around networking and developing my soft skills.
Okay.
Most of the time, technical people are realized or seen as people who use technical jargons in their presentations here and there. And the business world doesn't need that. What the business world needs is someone who can speak their language, understand when they speak and all that. And if I would have developed that more, if I knew that earlier when I was in tech. So these are the 2 key things I would have worked on if I knew when I was in school.
Really, really good points there. Kenneth, what 2 things?
So the first thing for me is the different career paths that there are. That it would have been very great to have an understanding of, the different career paths that there are with computer science. I remember when I finished high school and I had to go for my grades, right? By then you have to go to campus, take your grades, and then and that kind of thing. And one of our teachers saw me and he said, "Oh, you did pretty good. What are you going to do?" And I said, "Well, I want to do computer science at Tech." And he said, "Why do you want to run an internet cafe?" That's what he said, and I still remember that. But because I think basically by that time, the only 2 things that you could do in Ghana was to run an internet cafe and be in networking, right?
Yeah.
To do computer science. But having progressed in my career, I realized that there's a whole new, there's a wide array of things that we could do. So if we could actually learn some of these things at school, I think that would be very helpful.
Okay.
Yeah. The second thing is with how practical our courses are. That I feel that it's not very practical, and we seem not to. I personally didn't understand a lot of the things that I learned in school. I didn't know why I was doing them. But after I progressed a little bit, I quite remember I joined a project team when I was doing my PhD, and there is this guy, and he was talking about, if we differentiate the curve, we're going to get the hyperbole and that kind of thing. And I'm like, what are you talking about? We just do differentiation. We just do that, dy, dx, and there we go. And I don't have any idea what he was talking about. So if some of those things were a little bit practical, that will help guide us into, the different career paths that there are. So those are the 2 things that I wish I knew earlier on. When I was
great. So Hermann, you've just finished, right? Like you just finished school last year. So I don't know if you tell me you can't find 2 things, it's fine. But if you can find 2 things, that would be great. So what do you have to say about that?
So my opinion, I would say the first thing I'd say is to put myself out there. Yeah, sort of there was this teaching I had, I was back in tech. I would do well in school and then that's fine. I don't care, I feel like I should have put myself out there, go out for more opportunities, apply for more things. I mean, even if it means getting rejected, but just like to apply for more things and, and I felt that was going to be a better chance to try out something, to try out things because, it's not very bad if you take up an experience in first year, second year, realize you don't like this type of thing. So yeah.
Well, I want to sort of hold you on that bit. So what things would you have done? Like, I mean, just on the bit about trying things that you didn't do. Give an example because you are so fresh, right? Like some of the guys here will relate to that.
Yeah, so just like currently work at Goldman, but while I was in school, I'd see this whole Goldman Sachs has summer internship, and I don't care. It's like
you wouldn't have applied.
Yeah,
like,
I would just not apply. I was just like,
I don't care about that.
I don't care. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I got to final year, and I'm like, oh, I need something to do. And I was like, oh, I see the internship is like, all right, cool. Let me apply for this. So
okay.
Yeah, so these are things I should have done earlier.
Okay.
Just myself out there, apply for more opportunities.
Okay.
Yeah, and another thing I would say was I would start small, and start early.
Small. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's very punchy. Could you?
Yeah. So it's just this feeling that you have to do something. So for example, if you want to learn something like machine learning, there's this feeling like you have to get one day and you're all an expert. I feel like even the most complicated things, I should have started like small and just done them beat by beat, and over time you accumulate and like you're really good at that. So that's just what I would say. And the last thing to add, I think Patrick already spoke about this, is just I should have told myself that soft skills matter a lot.
Soft skills matter. That's the thing. Everybody's saying that on this panel.
Yeah. At the time, I just felt, why do you have to put me through the stress of doing a PowerPoint presentation? I've done the work. Look at my code. Like, say it's good.
My code is great. Why do I need a PowerPoint presentation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like coming up, nobody wants to dig into the details. Nobody cares about your factory pattern. Just tell people what they want to do. Show them metrics, show them, a product, and that's really, convince people. I think that's what really the world cares about. Yeah, sure.
That's really interesting. I think so. So just for the students here, so there are 3 people on this panel who did computer science, but this is not a computer science thing. It's just looking at the whole IT industry. So whether you're doing electrical engineering or computer engineering like Hermann did, it shouldn't really make a difference. Like, this is very important. And I think everything they've said here really pertains to everyone. So Sandra, I've got a question for you, which is, can you tell us a bit about your journey, right? Like, when you finished tech and where you are now. Now you're a program manager at Viamo, and you're doing really well. I saw some amazing stuff, like getting a couple of awards from the government, and some really wonderful stuff, right? Like, and you finished school 2015, which is what, maybe 4, 5 years, 6 years ago, something like that. And that is amazing, right? So tell us a bit about your journey. When you finished and where you are, right? You've got 2 minutes, so try and summarize it, but we would love to hear
All right,
that.
let me just put it back. All right, so thanks for the question. My journey after school was not actually what I expected it to be in the beginning, because it wasn't too smooth as I thought, because I was thinking, oh, right after school, I'm going to get a job, and I started planning and then prepare my budgets and everything, but it actually didn't work out well. I wrote a number after, let me just start, after I did my national service with NET, Social Security and National Insurance Trust, where I served as the assistant management information systems administrator. So I was more of like working on the systems and then helping people out in case they have any challenges with the softwares and stuff that we're using. So right after the national service, I didn't know there was a policy that after 1 year, you can't be taken on unless maybe you go out somewhere and then you come back in. So after that 1 year interval, what do? I need to search for a job. Either I go and come back, or I go and then I move on with my career. So I had to just start writing CVs, pursuing opportunities. There were a lot of no's. In fact, there were a lot of rejections. It got to a point that I was actually down. I didn't know what to do because my colleagues were flying higher, and I was still at the same place. Later on, I got an opportunity. That was a contract with MTN, and then that was more of like a sales assistant job, a sales executive. You have to be roaming on the street and then telling people. I was selling more of like internet packages. So telling people, oh, there's this new package and it's very helpful. These are the advantages and disadvantages of it. And you need to purchase this and all that. And you know, roaming on, that was in Kumasi, roaming on the streets of Kumasi and then walking to shops, people's houses and all that. You know how dangerous it is.
Yes.
Because some people ask you, are you a graduate? Like, have you been to school? Looking at you, you've been to school, right? So what program did you study? At points I had to like just trash off those questions. Like,
yeah.
So I moved on. Whilst I was there roaming on the streets and doing all that, I was still looking for opportunities, talking to my friends and all that. And then I had another opportunity that I was working with. I had this opportunity with Kumasi Hive, which is an innovation hub.
Okay.
Based in Kumasi. It's more of like an incubator, and then also like the digital as person, and then the lead for the Breeder Gap. So the Breeder Gap was an initiative that seeks to empower women and girls in tech. So training girls in fields of IoT, Internet of Things, web designs, graphic designs, and all that.
And this is in Kumasi?
Yeah, this was in Kumasi.
Okay.
This was actually in Kumasi. So when I went, this initiative was not actually there. So I had to start everything. First, I started with getting training like both male and females, but at a point I focused on just the women part.
On the female side, yeah.
So it wasn't easy. Our first contract was with iSpace, and then we had some, after that we created a story, and then we had donors coming in and all that. It wasn't easy getting students to participate. So although I was out of school, you see me on KNUST campus going up and down, people were still asking me, are you doing your master's? And all. It was quite hilarious, yeah. So this was how the whole, I just want to make a point that hard work really pays.
It does.
While I was doing all this, there were a lot of people who were seeing what I was doing. There were a number of rewards that came, which were based, some of them were based on how I started back in school. Like doing my secretaryship and all that. People were watching leadership positions and all that. So friends were connecting here and there and all that. I came back to Viamo. I've worked with Viamo whilst I was in school doing this contract work and stuff like that. By then it was vote to move out. So I got back, applied for this opportunity, and then I got back as a program manager. So that's my journey in like my field
after school. So it looks like it's been very tough because from a lady walking on the streets trying to sell products to where you are, it's taking a lot of tenacity and grit, right?
In fact, sometimes I get home and I'm like, oh my God, I want to cry. It wasn't because you go and people are asking you a lot of questions like, oh, so this unemployment thing is real?
Yeah.
So you finish like a lady like you and
you can't find a job.
That's part of the story, but it was just hard work. So I just want to let people know today I have a number of awards and a whole lot of like achievements and all that. And they were all based on all this commitment.
On the hard work that you started with. That's great.
On the hard work that's so I think
good. Thank you, Sandra, for that. That's great. Kenneth, can you tell us how you moved from being a student who finished in tech first degree to becoming an assistant professor in a university in the US?
Sure, definitely. So when we were done with school, I did my national service at Goldfields, Ghana in Takwa. So I did networking stuff. As I said, that was the only thing that you could do after computer science. So I was working at Goldfields. I stayed there for some time, and then I had a professor friend at the University of Mines and Technology. So he said, well, my department is trying to build some kind of a software. So if you could come and help us do that. So I went there. So at UMAT, University of Mines and Technology, that's where I saw, everybody's trying to do their masters and so on and so forth. So I decided to also pursue that. So after my national service, I worked with UMAT for about a year or so.
Okay.
And then I got the opportunity to go to Missouri to do my master's. So I went there, I did my master's, and I kind of liked maybe teaching. So I went back to UMass and I taught for about a year.
Okay.
So
this after you finished your master's.
Exactly. After I finished my master's, yeah, okay. I went to Ghana, and then I taught for about a year. And whilst I was doing that, my master's advisor, this Chinese dude, he calls me and he said, "Hey, I got this huge grant. You should come and help me work on the project." So I said, "Great. Sure." So I went back and then I worked with him on my PhD. And during this time, I really learned a lot after school. Actually, I missed that point. I learned a lot of programming. I did a lot of C++ programming all by myself. I self-studied. I did a lot of PHP and so on and so forth. I took the tutorials. We didn't have YouTube back then, so I had a lot of CBT nuggets. I think that's what they called it. There was some video tutorials which was passing around. So I took all of that. I learned a lot.
Great.
Yeah. So whilst I was in school as a PhD student, I worked for several companies. I worked for NASA as a C++ programmer. Yeah, I was trying to program their stuff for space stuff and complex stuff.
That's impressive.
Yeah, and then I did a thing for Boeing too. It was a kind of a similar thing.
So Boeing, they build airplanes, right?
Yes, they build airplanes. So yeah, so there was a Boeing office in St. Louis. That's the one that I worked with. So I worked with that too for about a year. And then I also worked for Siemens. For quite a bit. So I came up with some kind of an algorithm to solve their problem.
Oh, wow. Wait, let me stop you there. So all these guys, when we were in school and Professor Aqua and the rest used to tell us to write an algorithm to do something, and they're like, "Oh, it's not efficient,
we were mad.
You've got to do it." So like, did you find it as a good thing, like you going off writing algorithms for that company?
Yeah, it was kind of good. I honestly, coming from KNUST and then coming to school here in Missouri was a huge shift for me.
Wow.
So I had to, in my first year, I struggled a bit because there were most of the concepts which these guys felt, you should already know that, which I didn't know. I quite remember I entered the first class and then this lady was talking about some asymptotic notations and some algorithm stuff. And I kind of felt, okay, maybe I missed the previous class because
you didn't. No, you didn't miss a class. You just don't know it.
Yeah, I didn't get anything. But yeah, so I learned a lot, and by that time I was able to, I really appreciated all these algorithm stuff. So I did a thing for Siemens, which I patented, and
wow.
And then they bought it and they paid me some small money.
We'll talk about that afterwards.
Right. So during that time, I interviewed with a few companies. I interviewed with Google, and when I finished school, I interviewed with Google and Microsoft, and then I got to work for Microsoft a little bit for a very short time, but it was honestly draining, and it was a little bit, it was a lot. And again, the role that I was in, I didn't really like it because I was a software developer.
Yeah.
And then I thought that, I went to school all these years to do a PhD. Why do I have to be programming? So
you were in love with research, weren't you?
Yeah, exactly. So I found, I applied for a faculty position, and then I got a few of them, but Boston was kind of a bigger city, so I decided that I'll join Boston.
Wow, very, very interesting story. I mean, great. I can't wait to hear Patrick's and Hermann's. Hey, Patrick, tell me about yours. Thank you, Kenneth.
Yeah, thanks. I can say mine really started just after school, but before our graduation, it was clear in my mind I would want to be in ICT leadership.
Okay.
So then the conversation around how to position myself well came in. I needed to ask myself a few questions and try to focus on certain key areas. But I started my career as a national service person with Guinness Guinness Ghana Breweries Limited, and I got Guinness Ghana through networking.
Okay.
So on our graduation day, with a couple of our colleagues, Adnan, Ameme, and a couple of the guys were going to write exams with Guinness Ghana.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I have not written my name. They had written their names and they were being expected.
Okay.
So I just decided that, okay, why don't I follow these guys?
Yes.
So that
Go
I go
write
and
your
write
name.
I'll just go and patch and write the exam.
Write the exams and see what happens.
Yeah, see what happens. So
Okay.
I went with them. We wrote the exams, and fortunately for all of us, the four of us were actually identified to proceed to the next stage in the form of an interview.
Great.
So we went for the interview. They needed to stick to two of us, and at the end of the day, myself and one other colleague got the opportunity to work with Guinness Ghana.
Good.
So then, like I said, my target was to do IT leadership and not to do the core IT
Yeah,
stuff.
you didn't want to do
Yeah.
some of the low-level work like some
Yeah.
of us are doing. You
Yeah.
wanted
So
the top managerial
yeah.
job.
So
Okay, tell us how you got there.
immediately I jumped in. During my first year in Guinness Ghana, I decided to do all the jobs, all the networking things, all the desktop support related activities. So in Guinness Ghana, we had a structure where we've outsourced desktop support to IBM. So anytime the IBM guy is going, I'll just want to follow the person, try to learn, do whatever, because I wanted to do that thing for a year or two. That was my target.
Okay.
Because I had a plan. So immediately after that, normally you'll be asked to go off, go leave, but I was retained for another year. I was
After
put
your
on a
national
contract
service,
after
usually
my national
they let
service.
people go, but they retained
Yes.
you.
Yeah, but because
Good.
of and you see, it's all sacrifices. Like Sandra said, it's a dent of hard work.
Yeah.
Because I remember I had a line manager who is nocturnal.
Okay.
And when it is 5 o'clock for all of us to leave, that is when he wants
That's
to
when
work.
the guy is working.
Okay. So then, because you also know what you are looking for, you would rather want to stay with him and work throughout. So at times
Good.
we leave the office at 12 midnight and all that, just because I was targeting something. So immediately after that, he put me on a contract for a year, but that contract did not end. Within 6 months into it, he decided that, okay, this guy is hardworking.
You are too good to
Why
let
don't
you go.
why don't I like formalize his contract? So within 6 months, I was contracted by Guinness to be a permanent staff. From there, a lot of things started happening. A lot of opportunities started coming in. When I hear opportunities, I approach my line manager. I let him know I'm interested in that opportunity. He gives me that opportunity, and I then
So
move
these
on
are
with it. As a
internal
result of
opportunities in Guinness, right?
Yes, these are
Good.
internal opportunities
Okay.
in Guinness.
Okay.
In Guinness. So then again, there were opportunities outside the Ghana business, some in Cameroon, some in Kenya, some in. I got the opportunity to be put on such initiatives.
Good.
Because of the drive and the energy I placed in.
Good.
And then, like I said, I got that job through networking. The second job I got, which is my current role with Old Mutual, is also through networking. A friend heard that Old Mutual is looking for an head of IT, and she felt that, okay, this guy is well positioned to do it. He recommended me. I went through the process, and this is where I find
this
myself.
is where you are. So you are the head of IT at Old Mutual, and that's a massive role, right? And when you say networking, right, it's not like I know a friend like me. I'm like, oh, I know Kenneth. There's a job in my company. I sort of find a way to get Kenneth to work there. That's not what networking is. Can you explain a bit more so the students understand exactly what we mean?
Okay, so what I mean is I believe I have a career purpose, and I believe by the time the students move out of campus, they should have something we call career purpose. I have a belief that if I'm working for a line manager, the line manager should leave my area and focus on other areas.
Good.
Because my space I occupy should not give that line manager issues.
Any problem. So you take control and make sure things work.
Take control over my space.
Yeah.
And then make sure the line manager can focus on other areas. And that is the mindset I do my things with. So and that applies to other stakeholders I meet along the way. So I try to give up my best. The one I am saying connected me to this current job is someone in marketing.
Okay.
But this person happened to know who I am through the little exposure we've had, the little communications we've had along the career path. And the person was comfortable to recommend
you
this particular job. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you, Patrick. So basically, I think to the students who are listening, like the networking, in fact, let me let Hermann come in and then we talk a bit about networking. I think I might ask Sandra to talk a bit about networking because I think she'll have a lot to say on that. And Hermann, so can you tell us your journey? Yours must be very short, right? Like you just finished school last year. So yours should take like 15 seconds. Tell us what happened with you. How did you end up at Goldman Sachs?
It's pretty much short journey, as you said. So I interned here last summer. Really
How did you intern? How did you get in?
So I applied for the summer internship. They had this African recruitment initiative. So went through a series of rounds of interviews, programming assessments, and got into the interview. Really liked the work I did in my internship. Really liked the team. I've always been like a more research-driven person. It was my first time trying like software engineering, like and like the context of like industry.
Okay.
And so I mean, I got the offer and decided to come. So far, I've liked it. I've been here for a number of months, so still pretty much new to the
Brilliant.
whole. Yeah, sure.
Good. Okay, great. Nice and short and tidy. Sure. Sandra, could you tell us a bit about networking? Like, what's your understanding about that? I think when Patrick was talking, you were smiling. I think there's something you want to tell us. So yeah, let's hear you.
All right. So to me, when we speak about networking, it's about connecting with people. So this time around, it's not computers, but you're connecting with people. And then what happens is that you might not really know everyone, but if I know Lawrence has a network. And if Lawrence is my friend, his network, his friends are now part of my network.
Yeah.
And then if I also know Patrick knows a lot of people. If I'm friends with Patrick, it means his friends become part of my network.
Exactly.
So that's what,
and it's great because so that means that if tomorrow Patrick's company are looking for, I don't know, a program manager or head of program management or something, he's like, oh, well, Sandra, there's a role going in my company. Do you want to apply? Mm-hmm. And then you might apply. Patrick might not be on the panel, but he would have helped you find a role that you wouldn't have known otherwise.
Yeah.
And if sorry, Patrick.
I would have declared my interest in
knowing her, exactly.
To stay away
exactly.
From the interview.
Exactly. And that is very good because you have to make sure that the panel and your company knows you know Sandra, but to prevent it from it looking like you are trying to push her, you stay out, as Patrick is saying, and others will take charge. And I think same thing, you know.
But Lawrence, to add to that, I believe we're getting to the point where you will just not connect someone or you just not recommend someone. Whoever you're recommending is someone you are very sure will get the job at the end of the day.
Okay. Yeah.
And the person has the right competence because you know the person and you know the strength of the person, the weaknesses of the person, and you can recommend the person.
Yeah.
So I think
because your reputation is also
key.
Yes,
exactly.
It's on there. All right. So I think in the same way, like, well, I'm not saying everybody should be bombarding Kenneth to say, Kenneth, I want to go and do a master's in your university type of thing. But similarly, like if let's say one of you guys are listening and you want to be a professor one day, I don't know, right? Like at least there's someone you can contact and say, look, Kenneth, how do I apply for a master's? Or no, for some guidance, and that's what networking is all about. Okay, so to stop me from going on, I will just ask Kenneth the next question. So Ken, I think you mentioned some things, but what did you learn at Tech? So like this can be a long question, but I want it to be very short if you can.
Okay.
What did you learn at Tech, which is helping you in your current career as an assistant professor?
Okay, so I would say this. So as my current position as an assistant professor, I do a little bit of teaching. Usually I teach one class in a semester or two classes at most. And then the rest of the time I do research. So my research is mainly into machine learning, recommender systems, and so on and so forth. And so based on that, what has really helped me that I learned at Tech was the math. So we did
the mathematics, the one we complained about a lot. We were like, gosh, why am I doing this and that? Okay, I want to hear that. Tell me. So I'm sure some guys will be complaining, like I'm sure some of the students have been why am I doing so many mathematics, this abstract stuff? Okay.
I was complaining too. I didn't like the math. Yeah. I was complaining too, but like I said before, I think that the math is good, but probably the way that it's being taught in school now, it's not very nice. Like we are just doing stuff, right? We don't really understand why we're doing stuff. But after I got to understand why I'm doing what, it became more clearer, and it's really helped me in my career now, because most of the machine learning algorithms, the formulas and everything, it's strongly mathematics. And without understanding the math, it's very difficult to improve on some of these existing algorithms. So I think the math has been very good.
A solid rock. So like if you can meet some of the math lecturers, Dr. Pook and those guys, you want to say thank you to them, right?
Yes, I'll actually take them to Kempinski and then go.
Very good idea. They'll hold you to that. When you come back to Ghana, they're going to hold you to that. Patrick. What one thing did you learn at Tech which is helping you in your career at the moment?
No, for me, I think it's maths helping me become a lot more analytical.
Okay.
And then if you look at the whole where I sit now as head of IT, whoever I work with, whether it's being a network engineer, whether it's being an application developer or website developer or anything, I need to understand what the person
is doing,
you see, so that I will not be bamboozled here.
Yes, developers are very good at doing that.
Exactly. So that bit of the teaching in Tech has really helped me. Aside that, I would say economics and accounting.
Okay.
Because that is what you need at the level like currently. You should be able to understand the business trends. You should be able to understand some bit of accounting to be able to report as expected. So I think my stay in Tech has really been helpful considering the things that have been taught. Yeah.
Okay, that's brilliant. Hermann, and then I'll come to Sandra afterwards. Hermann, I need to stop going on about the fact that you just finished last year. I'm not going to say that anymore because I'm repeating myself. So can you tell us one thing at Tech which is really helping you at Goldman Sachs at the moment?
Sure. I would not say one thing, I would say two things.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, go for it.
The first thing I would say is I would not point to let's say particular course. I would just say that Tech taught me how to learn, right? And the whole idea is that we take for granted the fact that you can be thrown something totally new you know nothing about, and then you go at the end of the semester, something very difficult that you know nothing about, and then you have a good grasp of it, right? Which is something that I find now it's not necessarily that I'm doing. I'm still into programming, I'm still doing lots of things, but not necessarily what I learned in school. I'm learning lots of proprietary stuff. So so I think that it's been that ability to learn things that I have no idea about, systems that I have zero idea about, and to be able to pick up, master them, and to be able to make contributions on them. That's one thing. And the second thing I would say is also I don't know if this is good or bad, but I think Tech taught me how to handle pressure. To react to things under pressure. So being able to meet timely deadlines and things. I think in Tech it's sort of set as a bad attitude because you procrastinate and then
Last
you're not
minute,
even
there's so
last
much
minute, like,
pressure.
yeah, but
Okay.
yeah. Now I get to handle pressure, not necessarily because I procrastinated, but because like, there's just pressure, like, yeah. So
Okay.
that's it
Okay.
for me. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Sandra, what about you?
All right. So for me, I learned a lot from tech, but I think two things really stand out to me. And
Okay.
then these are the ability to explore, because I
Okay.
was a student and then I had to be trying a whole lot of things. And then my leadership positions there kind of like really helped me. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's good. So I
Yeah.
think I'm going to go back to you, Sandra, for our last questions, right? And then we are going to open the floor. So Sandra, what advice, right? Do you want to give? There's like maybe 100 students here right now listening to you. What advice do you want to give them? Like maybe one or two.
One or two. Okay, so for me, my advice to students is that they should be very open-minded. They should try to network, like make friends with your colleagues from different departments, no matter the program they are pursuing, your lecturers, and then try to volunteer. If you
Okay.
see that there are any internship opportunities there, try to write out and then see how best you can maybe get the opportunity or something.
Okay.
And then if you don't know something, just go on the net and then research, or maybe contact a friend or something.
Okay.
And also be consistent and then hardworking with what's all that you are doing. Because I just want to add up one thing to what we said about networking. I think what Patrick said is really true. People, we know a lot of people. A lot of people do know us. Even if when we are students, like we know a lot of colleagues and all that, but they would only recommend you when they know you would go there and then get a job done.
And not disgrace them.
Exactly, not disgrace them. So I think that's the only thing where you might know a lot of people, you might have networked and all that, but being hardworking and then getting your stuff done is something that makes you stand out. So they know if they get you out there,
you
do it.
work hard. Yeah, you're not
Yes,
going
you
to
work hard
mess
for
up
it.
their reputation.
Yeah,
Okay, good
you
point.
never miss.
All right,
I think
Patrick.
that's the
Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry, Sandra. Have you finished? I must have cut you there. Sorry.
no.
Are you
I think
done?
I'm good.
All
But
right.
yeah, thank
Okay.
you.
Patrick, you were smiling, so I think you should go next, right? Like,
So just to add to what Sandra has said,
it looks like you and Sandra, you have some understanding. Something
it
is
is networking,
okay. Networking. Okay,
Okay.
great.
The second one is we should have a plan for our career. We plan for everything, but we leave out our career. Just before you finish school, just have a plan for your career. It is not going to be rosy, but at the end of the day, if you have something you are focusing on, you will definitely get there. The other thing I would also want to say is take advantage of all opportunities that comes your way. Any opportunity that comes your way, there's definitely something you would need to learn for the future. You'll learn something today, you would have to apply it in the course of your career in the next year, 2 or 3. So let's make sure that we take advantage of every opportunity that comes our way. The God factor cannot be ruled out for me. The God factor is key. We should aside the hard work, the God factor, our personal growth should also be key.
Okay.
We should target growth. We should grow ourselves. When we
Okay.
come in contact with people, when you get to a leadership position, you would have to focus on people growth because you need people to get the work done for you as well. So these are it. And you lead by example as well.
Okay.
Those are the key things I would want.
Thank you, Patrick. So Herman, I'm going to stop myself from saying what I said I wouldn't say. So yeah, Herman, what advice do you give to people who just finished? Yeah.
I'd say be open to try, new things. You may never know what you like, so keep an open mind. This does not mean not having what you stand for, but as much as you have what you want to do, also keep an open mind because sometimes you never know what may pique your interest.
You
so
never
you never
know.
know what you really go out there and be very successful in. So just keep an open mind and just work hard and be committed to what you do.
Okay, Herman, thank you. And Assistant Professor, what do you have to say for us?
Well, I would say we should all have, career mentors. Okay, so like when we were little, they asked us, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" And we say, "Okay, I want to be a doctor," right? But we are not doctors. What happened, right? So we didn't get people to actually tell us, how we can become doctors. So if like what Patrick said, if you have a goal, if you know you want to be head of IT, then you should find people who are already head of IT and then try to work with them, ask them. He said, okay, this is what I'm doing now. Yeah. How am I doing? And then they'll tell you, okay, I think you are doing okay. I think you can improve in these areas and so on and so forth. I think that really, really helps. What would take you two days to figure out, your mentor can take 2 minutes to tell you. So I think
what if you have no idea what you want to do? You're about to finish tech. Like, I think you said you were a bit like that, right? You were not too sure what you were doing. So like people like that, what do they do?
Well, at this point, I think that there is a lot more material out there, right? Okay. Which I believe that we could explore. If you go to YouTube, there are thousands and thousands of things that are happening there, which I feel that we can take advantage of some of these things to be able to know what, at least have an idea, have a little bit of an idea about what we want to do. I think not knowing what we want to do, it's partly ingrained in our culture. Our culture is a little bit dependent. Okay. We always look forward to, or we look up to someone else to tell us what we want to do, and I think that's the little bit of thing that we need to also try to change. And I think we can change this by reading around, not just watching funny videos on WhatsApp, but spending some more time, just looking out there, what other people are doing. Some of those things might interest us. Some will pique our interest, and then we can pick it from there. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Kenneth. I think where we are now, we're done with all the talking, and now over to you, the students. So I've sort of you can unmute yourself and ask a question. We're going to give ourselves a couple of minutes, maybe another 30 minutes, if there are a lot of questions. I think Kenneth will leave us at some point. So if you've got questions, please ask them. I know one question which I've been getting is, how can I contact each one of these guys? Now I'm not going to put their details out there because otherwise you're going to bombard them, right? But I'm going to give you an email, right? I'm going to send an email address on the chat. So it's knust@googlegroups.com, right? If you have any questions or you've got any, whatever from the conversation we're having, let's say you watch this on YouTube later and you've got a question for any of these guys, just email that, send an email to that email address and we will route it out to the correct person, right? Because I don't want these people to be spammed at all. So, okay, so I'll keep quiet and let you ask a question. So just unmute yourself and ask if any of you have a question to ask. You don't need to put your video on, so don't feel shy. Like, just ask the question. Someone asked the question, but it was more on the chat. So they were like, they wanted to ask Kenneth, can you tell him how to apply to do a master's outside of Ghana?
Well, I can say specifically for the US. Basically, I think there's one exam that you need to take. That's the GRE or the GMAT. So that is required. So you need to take that. And that's about it. Most of US schools accept our transcript from KNUST. Actually, KNUST is seen here as one of the top schools. Very good schools. So so if you are from KNUST and then you apply to the schools, they are going to pick your application right away.
Good.
And if you do very well in the GRE, then you'll be assured of a scholarship. So.
Brilliant. I think I'll talk for the UK. So for the UK, it's a little bit much more simpler. You don't really need to write any exams. I think there's this English test that you've got to write, but not all universities expect you to do that. But the main thing about the UK is you've got to send out a really good application. You usually get admission for your course, but it's the scholarships that are difficult, right? So you need to put in a really good application, and then hopefully you'll get. So there are some universities that have scholarships purely for Africans, so you can look at those. Nottingham University is a good one. They are like Cambridge and Oxford. Don't feel like they are too big for you. Like if you get a good first class, you can apply to Cambridge or Oxford. You'll be surprised. They've got very good scholarships for Africans. And I think there's UCL, really good universities in the UK have scholarships for African students. So you can apply for that as well. I think Ruben has a question and Kay as well. So you can unmute yourself and ask. Kay, you've raised your hand, and Ruben, you want to, yeah, let's hear you. Okay, I can't really hear anyone. So yeah, someone is asking, okay, Eben Quason, do you want to ask your question?
Yes. Hello?
Yes, you can ask your question, or you can type your question in the chat. Eben, let's hear you.
Please, my question is directed towards Hermann.
Okay.
I was wondering if you get a job opportunity outside the country, even before you graduate, are you supposed to take it, or national service is going to cause problems for you?
I'm not sure I'm in a very good position to answer that question.
I can answer that. I can answer that for me, because you come from Cameroon, so you didn't have that problem of having to do national service, right?
Yeah, sure.
So a lot of the Eben, is your question for companies that are outside of Ghana?
Yes, please.
Okay, so it's not a problem, because companies, like if a company, and I think we've got Patrick here, head of IT, so he can tell you, if a company think that you are good and they give you an offer, they're happy to wait 3 years, 4 years for you, right? They think you are good at what you're doing, or you are a good person for whatever they need. So most companies will not say, well, we are not going to give you the offer because you've got to do 1 year national service. So it shouldn't be a problem, right? So it's not something you should be worried about at all.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Someone asked a question. They asked that, please, are the scholarships for only first class students, or skills also count? Kenneth?
Yeah. No, it's not just for first class students. So usually what happens specifically in computer science is that most of these scholarships come from grants. So we write federal grants, and then we get the money, and then we hire students to work for us. So if a grant that I have, if I need like a software developer or a web developer, then yes, your skills will count at that point. But then if I actually don't need a web developer, or I need somebody to just help me with some research assistant or something like that in those lines, then I think that your GRE scores will be what will actually count. Yeah.
So someone with a strong first class will get more opportunity than, we'll get that chance compared
exactly.
to,
we'll get that chance.
Okay. Yeah. But I think, just talking about that, I know some of my friends, who got second class upper, who still got scholarships in the US, and they are doing very well. So it's possible, isn't it, Kenneth?
Yes, it is possible. Like I said, it's actually the GRE scores that makes a difference. Okay. So if you are able to, I'm actually helping this guy right now. He's even right there at KNUST to gain admission here, and then he did excellently well in the GRE. He got 169 over 170. Wow. In the math. Yeah. So I kind of guided him. He has 2 scholarships on his table now. He's trying to decide which one to take.
That's a good problem to have. Great. So someone asked a question about, I don't know whether Sandra or Patrick, any of you guys can answer that, which is, will you encourage students to pursue further degrees in Ghana instead of going outside? So second or third degree in Ghana instead of going outside. Anyone can answer that. I mean, Sandra, do you have a take on that? I mean,
Okay,
what are your thoughts? Yeah.
Okay, for me, I think it would depend on actually the goals of the person. What do you want to achieve at the end of the day? And then what do you like? Yes.
Okay.
Do you want to, yeah, what do you like? It all depends on the person. Like what, yeah.
Okay, that's good. Patrick, do you have anything to say? And Kenneth as well?
Yeah, so I think like Sandra said, it's got to do with the person, but a pursuing second or third degree in Ghana in some of the institutions is not bad because they are actually recognized. So an institution like where you are now is a recognized institution where you can pursue your second or third degree, right? It all depends on the individual and the level he would want to play. So for instance, assuming personally I have I have a plan of staying in South Africa or anywhere, then basically I would want to pursue my second degree in order for me to be able to join them easily. So it depends on the person's plan for himself and what he would want to do.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, great. Ken, anything to add or?
Well, yeah, I think I agree. It all depends on your future goals, like what you actually want to do. So
yeah,
if you just want to, stay in Ghana and try to help, build some of the companies there, then definitely
go ahead. Yeah. And then I think for me, just using some of the conversation, like some of my friends. So, I have friends who did their masters in Ghana and did their PhDs outside, and came back to Ghana. Others stayed outside. Some friends tried for scholar, they got admission outside, but they couldn't get scholarships, and they really wanted to do a master's, so they then chose to do their masters in Ghana because instead of waiting and just trying, they did their masters, and after they did the masters in Ghana, they then got opportunities to go outside. So I think for most people, well, I can't speak for everyone, but for most people, for me personally as well, I looked outside because when we finished tech, like 2006 or 2007, there were not a lot of universities that did masters in computer science, and they were not that, even those that did were not great. So the only option was to look outside. So, but now I think tech and other universities are doing some really, really good masters programs. And so if you try outside and it doesn't work, I think you should be, there are some really, really good lecturers especially in tech for computer science. And I think even computer engineering, telecoms, there are some really good things I've heard going on in Ghana for postgraduate. Someone asked a question, whether, Kenneth, so this was specifically to you, that whether do you still program? Are you still a programmer whilst you're teaching, or it's mainly just the research?
No, I'm still a programmer. So I had mentioned earlier on that I have a patent with Siemens. So there is a software that I still update, and then I give them updates. So
okay, so you still making?
Yeah, I do C++. Yes.
Okay, great. All right. So Hermann, I think there was a question someone was asking.
I have a patent with Siemens. So
someone's thing is it Ransford? Ransford, do you want to ask a question? You can go ahead.
Please,
yes, go ahead.
Okay, since my question or my contribution is, since you've taken it to yourself to help students like us from Ghana, then from other African countries, I'm suggesting if we could get some platform like
ask a question. Go ahead.
Page where some options like you can share.
Ransford, you might have to repeat your question. I can't hear you. Your line was breaking.
Okay, please. My question is, it's like a contribution I'm trying to give to help some of us. What I want to suggest is, I was trying to suggest if you could create, let's say, a platform like a Telegram page, any page like WhatsApp, anything that a student like us from Ghana or any other countries can join, so that since you've taken it upon yourself to help us, where you'll be sharing some links and some opportunities, some experiences to us, so that we can also take good advantage of those things.
Okay.
Because I think after this, getting in touch with you guys is going to be difficult.
It's not. I've shared an email address that I said you should send an email to. So I think in as much as these guys would be very happy to help, like on this chat, there's like 160 people or something, right? If even 100 of them send emails to them, that would be like, that would be too much, right? So I've put an email address there. If you've got a specific question, send an email and I'll put it to the right person, right? So like you still get the contact. And most of these guys are on LinkedIn, right? So, go on LinkedIn, befriend them and you can ping them from there.
Okay. The reason why I'm trying, I was giving that suggestion is, I hope you can. Currently, I'm also doing computer science study. Having a class with one lecturer. I don't know whether you could remember him, Prof. Aqua.
Yes, Professor Aqua taught all of us, I think.
He was like, we should try developing, let's say, something like a site or a page where they will be able to, let's say, contact students, former students, alumni who are able to pass through the school and are now working in various companies, so that something like internship opportunities, we'll be able to get those opportunities.
Yes. You're right. You're right. There's a lot of people who want to ask questions. So you're right. I think there's already a group, an alumni group for computer science. I don't know whether computer engineering and others also have that. So you can talk to Professor Aqua, and I think if you've got any questions, you can put that there. But I think we will try as much as possible. This is one of the things we're doing to try and break the gap, right? So you've got Sandra here, you've got Patrick, Kenneth, so if things like internship, if let's say you've got an idea, you want to work in an internship, let's say in an area that Sandra is in, or Ken or Patrick, send an email to that. We will try and, link the two of you and you can work. So there's a question for Hermann here that I'm going to ask. So looking at how new trends are coming in our department, how would you advise to specialize, considering how many sectors upcoming are not necessarily a stronghold in this country? Also, do you miss your room in complex? Do you still play basketball? So, okay, Hermann, I don't know. Yeah, you've got to answer that.
Okay, that's 3 questions. So the first one is about the trends, and there's several of them. So just say when it comes to, specializing in something, I would say there's 3 things to always think about. I would think about first thing, my passion for it, next my proficiency, and next the profitability, right? So I mean, if you're so interested in something and it's not going to pay off where you are, it's a bit tricky. Okay. So I'll just say do enough research about that specific field. What's the openings? Where are you looking to spend time on? Okay. Think about how much you like that and how much you're willing to get proficient in. And again, I would still say try new things, because try out a couple of things before settling down on one specific thing. So you should have some breadth, and before you get very deep to one specific thing.
Okay.
Should give you like a good idea.
Okay.
About
Hello.
Okay.
And second question, do I miss my rooming complex?
Do you still miss your roommate and do you still play basketball?
Yeah, I do miss my rooming complex. And
are you sure? Where you are
I
sleeping now, I think it's much more comfortable than, but you miss it.
Yeah,
you
I do
miss that
my
single
bed.
bed?
I miss that single bed.
You miss it, okay.
And yeah, I do play basketball. I actually played yesterday, like last evening.
All right, brilliant. So Ruben, you're going to ask a question, right? Let's hear you, and then Amwabin as well. And then I've got a question for Sandra and Patrick.
Okay. Good evening.
Yes.
Is this to Mr. Lawrence? What do you think is the best of all the soft skills that are requisites for us who are electrical engineering students and some computer engineering students in the industrial field?
Okay, good question. Sandra and Patrick, I think you guys talked a bit about that. Do you want to mention it? Like in terms of, what soft skills do, technical people like, electrical engineers, computer engineers who are working in the field, what sort of soft skills do they need?
Okay, so maybe I will take that first.
Okay.
And then maybe Sandra, you can add on. I think we all of us here are seen as very technical people, and we are seen as people who use these technical jargons in our communication. I think the first thing people would have to work on is their communication skills. So people should be able to communicate for the understanding of other people. So if you know there is a sentence you are forming, which you're going to use a technical jargon, you go through it and try to replace it or coil it in a way that any person,
any layman can understand.
Any layman person would
you are not the smartest
that
guy.
gives you the hedge.
Yeah, exactly. You are not smart because you are saying complicated things. You should try and keep it simple. Yeah.
Exactly. The other one I can say is our leadership skill. Most technical guys are seen as people who would want to sit in their corner and do their programming without. A lot of technical people do very solid stuff.
Yeah.
But when it comes to leading and portraying what we are doing, it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
So I think that is one area you would also need to focus on.
Yeah.
As you do your project work and all that, learning to work in a team is also one
very important
key thing because you would want to focus on the programming bit. Someone would have to be speaking for you. Someone would have to be doing this and all that. And we just have to understand that we all have what we are supposed to do in order to achieve a common goal. So I think these are the top three I would say.
Okay.
Maybe Sandra can add the rest to it.
Sandra.
In fact, I think Patrick has said it all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
he said it. I think there's another question. Sorry, was someone?
No. Mr. Lawrence.
Yes, Ruben.
My second question is that.
Hey, you've got a second question. There are a lot of questions, so okay, be quick. Okay.
All right. Looking that we are in the third world and we have alumni like you who are making good strides in the world right now. What do you think you can do to reshape the curricula we have in the university to help us actually make an impact in the world such that Ghana can compete and Africa can compete?
Okay, great. Kenneth, I think this is more around your area, right? And maybe Sandra might also want to say something because I think Sandra talked a bit around that, at some point. So Ken, what do you think?
Can you say your question again?
So the question, the question is more of like where we are, right? We went through tech, we working, we seen the world. Like what can we do to help with the curriculum that they are doing, to make it better for them to be, really able to confront what's going on in the world? And I think maybe Patrick might also want to have a say because of his role. Yes, Ken.
Yeah, I think that is a big a big challenge. I think I just left Ghana about a week ago. I've been in Ghana since February.
Enjoying the sunshine.
Early March. And when I was in Ghana, I spent most of my time trying to go to the universities and try to help with some of my experience. I was at Central University.
Okay.
I was at Blue Crest University. I was at Ashesi. And there was another university, Palm Institute. So I was at these universities trying to help them to try to change some of the ways that we do things.
Yeah.
To try to
make it
compete.
Better.
Yeah, to make it better. The main challenge that I faced was the fact that we don't want to change the way that we do the things. So
okay, is it the students, the lecturers, the institution, or what, the system?
The system, everybody.
Okay.
And so that is quite challenging because I do stuff like I write exams questions and they have to review those exam questions and they cancel all the exam questions that I have written, saying that this is not good. But I've been teaching for the past six years.
Wow,
and this is the kind of exam questions that I set. And so because they have this set of mindset that they have that you need to follow, it has to be this and it has to be that, and we are not open to learn. I have not given up. I'll keep coming, and then I'll keep on trying to change. Yeah, I keep trying, and then I believe that it will help. Some ways. In the long run. Yeah,
that's great. Sandra, do you have something to add before Patrick, or not?
Okay, maybe I'll say something, and then Patrick can also add in something. For me, I think this is actually something that I know would be done along the line, but it's kind of like top level. But what we can do is that let's try and then apply the very things that we learn now.
Okay.
For example, if we go to class and then maybe we were taught about resistors, electronics, basic stuff. On our spare time, we could try out experimenting how this works, and then let's believe in ourselves.
Yeah.
Most times, you might think you don't know, but until you start trying something little, that's when you see that you have a lot of potential in you. So I think the soft skills that Patrick mentioned are really vital here.
Okay.
If you have a lot of self-confidence, you get to do a lot of things that you never knew you could do just because you started them. I think that's actually top level, but let's just start within ourselves. Like, let's try to see that change. Let's try being the change that we want to see. And I think with time it will be incorporated.
Okay, that's great. Patrick, do you want to add something?
Yeah. So just a quick addition. I think I was on I noticed somewhere last week on a Telegram page that the university will be sharing the current, what was the name, profile or the topics that are being taught in the school for alumni to go through and advise. So when I saw it to be a positive step that is being started. That's a positive step being started by the school. But like Hermann indicated, what's the name? The KNUST environment teaches you to learn. So basically what you will need to do is to study the trend. If you look at the current trend, the cloud migrations are what is happening. A lot of companies are trying to migrate their services or their servers from on-prem solutions into the cloud. There are a whole lot of things being done in the cybersecurity area as well. So these are areas you can also consider
learn on your own. Yeah.
It is not just about programming. Cybersecurity is something you can simply sit and try to learn
and
some
learn
of these
yourself.
Things on your own.
Yeah.
Exactly. There is a whole area around data science as well. Which is also one of the big things that which is one of the big things that are also currently happening. You can spend some time reading and understanding them. The whole area around business analysis is also one skill.
Massive.
A lot of people are missing. A lot of industries or a lot of companies are currently missing. So these are areas I believe people can spend some level of time on as well, aside what they learn from school. But the school has taken steps to address some of these things by
some of
us.
them. Yeah. All right. Hermann, do you have anything to add on that, or you're pretty good?
I think like the contributions
You've
Patrick
answered it.
and everybody's
okay. Okay, thank you. So I'm just a facilitator, but I've got a really big point I want to make about this question because this question really hits me. So when we were in tech, I never had a computer. I never had a computer. I did computer science for 4 years. I never owned one. It's not because I never wanted to have one, but my parents just couldn't afford one. I wrote all my code on paper. So I had someone complaining, oh, why do I write code on paper? I wrote all my code on paper. I did my flowcharts on paper. I write my code on paper. I debug my code on paper. And then I go to a friend's room who had a computer when they are asleep in the night and type out my code and check it. You know, that's how I learned programming. I learned all my programming on paper, right? But now when I look back, I think it was one of the best things that happened to my life. Because when I have to write code at work, I think and I put it on paper, and when I write it, it works, right? Like I don't spend hours trying to, you know, type so many things, it doesn't work. No, and so it's not the best, but to be honest with you, the current situation we have where you are taught. So Kenneth was talking about a lot about algorithms. Algorithms is not about I don't know, like getting an ID and writing a lot of code, right? You've got to be efficient. You've got to think about the own notation and the rest of it. So guys, it's not the best in tech, I agree, but all of us here went through tech and we've made the best out of it. So make the best out of what you have. We are still talking to some of the professors, like as Kenneth said, to try and make sure things are improved, but don't complain about writing code on paper. You know, I came to a university in the UK and I wrote some of my code on paper in the exams, right? Like it's not a big deal, right? But so I don't think we should let that affect us too much. Someone asked the question, and Ken, someone was saying there are a lot of blogs speak about research experience during undergraduate programs. How important is this, and how do we achieve this?
I think this is kind of a new thing that is creeping into the research world now. I don't think it's at a point where it's required to actually do a master's. You don't really have to have any research experience, but then if you do have it, it's good. Okay. And I believe that the way to actually get this done is to I mean, with the institution like Tech, where most of the faculty, some of them are doing some kind of research. So you need to approach them and then say, hey, I looked at your website, or I saw your profile on the university's website, and I see that you are doing this kind of, or you wrote this kind of paper. I would like to be involved in some of the research that you do. Maybe I can, you know, create some setups for you. I can do some literature review for you and that kind of thing, and try to work with them to be able to get that kind of experience. So that's one way that you could do that. Another way is just Google, just go out there and look at the different trends in computer engineering, electrical engineering, and then you can find some areas that will be interesting to you, and just pick it up and then try to read some technical papers in those areas, and then you should be able to learn the act of doing some research.
Okay, great. So we've taken so much time. I think I'll just allow maybe 1 or 2 more questions because these guys have given so much, and so we can put it. So Amwaben, I think you have your hands raised. Please go.
Please, good evening.
Yes.
I'm kind of stuck with my career choices because when coming to tech, I wanted to do electrical engineering, but I didn't get it.
Okay.
But I'm now reading computer engineering, which I like. But then, you see, with electrical, I planned what I wanted to do after the course. I wanted to, after the degree, I wanted to go and study computer engineering as my master's. But now I'm doing the computer engineering. I'm kind of stuck and I don't know what to do after this.
I think this question will go to Hermann, and then if Ken has a point he can add. Hermann, what advice do you give to Amwabe?
I'd say I think computer engineering and electrical, I think the KNUST, the program is not that very different. I think
it's not that different, yeah.
I think we did very similar courses up to like final year and third year. So I feel like if you've done computer engineering, it's not really that much of a blocker. And plus, you said you want to do computer engineering for your master's also. So if you don't computer engineering, that's fine. It's just easy to go into computer engineering again for your master's, right? So I would just say, especially when it comes to what you've done in the undergrad, I would say it's not always that much of a blocker to what you do in your graduate studies. I've seen people who've done mechanical engineering and they're doing their graduate studies in computer engineering or stuff like that. So I'd say it's not very much a blocker. It's just your ability to learn, to be dynamic, and to
Okay, great. Ken, do you have anything to add, or he's sort
No, I think Hermann just nailed it. Yeah, this is just first degree. I think you've not gone that far, so you can
you can always branch and
you can
whatever
always
you
change,
want to do.
yes.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. One last question. I think it's just 30 minutes past the hour, so one last question, and then I'll hand it over back to Obed if he's got something to add, and then we're done. Any question? Yeah, just unmute yourself and ask if you have a question. Otherwise, we'll call it an evening. Yeah. Okay. No other questions. Brilliant. So I really want to thank Hermann. I want to thank Patrick, Sandra, Kenneth for this. This was a short notice. We got like 3 days to do this, but you guys have sort of really given. I hope that you've given a lot to, oh, someone wants to ask a question. Okay, Nobel, ask one question and then we're off. Yeah. Then I was just about to finish my vote of thanks. Okay, Nobel, you want to ask here? Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to ask that how did Hermann get to where he is now with the Goldman Sachs, like where he's working now? That's what I wanted to ask.
Okay, Hermann, you want to remind people about the African Recruitment
Initiative? So there's this
Initiative
thing that Goldman Sachs runs. It's called the Africa Recruitment Initiative, recruiting tech talent from Africa. I think it's coming up soon.
I think September.
September, I think, Lawrence, you'll be very sweet with that. I think you're part of that this year. So I think I'm not sure it's launched yet, but I'll definitely send out the link. I'm not sure if it's launched yet, but I'll definitely send out the link to the distro.
So I think that the point here is that we've got a couple of people who are I think that there's someone in your third year who is actually coming as an intern, Akowa.
He's actually on the call.
He's on the Akowa. Are you around? You want to just tell people, because you are still a student, do you want to unmute yourself, Akowa? And then you are still a student, and just tell them what you did to get into Goldman, because you are an intern at Goldman Sachs right now, right? Unless he's dropped off. Okay, it's fine. So basically, there's this African Recruitment Initiative which comes on campus. Just look out for that, apply, and go off and do it. I think Bank of America also do a lot of recruitment in Ghana for tech talent. So just watch out for those opportunities. And as Hermann said, when it comes, don't think I'm not good enough. Put it in there and just do your best, right? Because you never know. Something great might happen to you. So yeah.
I need.
Is someone speaking?
Please have this small issue. I need help. An internship. My main aim is to become a machine learning engineer, a data scientist.
Okay.
So everything that I do is related to data science, machine learning, and everything. But I've not gotten the opportunity to take an internship. So this is the first time I try applying for internship. So there's this company that called me, and I had an interview with them. They were like, they are not into machine learning and data science, but they want me to start learning something like web development, Node.js, and things. So it's like they are trying to
move you into something
else.
Push
me to learn something else. So it's like since I ended there, since after the interview, let me put it that after the interview, I've started learning this Node.js, but I got to a point, it's like I'm forgetting.
You're forgetting all your machine learning skills.
Machine learning, data science, So it's like I don't know whether I should still continue because I want the internship. Since I started school, I've never
I mean, I think
internship.
so. Thank you for that. I think we're running out
it's
of
part
time.
Of the getting.
All right, sorry, we're running out of time, so I'm gonna just answer that quickly, and then so that we can go. So basically, I'll just encourage you that IT is so broad. Where you are now, and the best you can do is to do a bit of that, the Node.js, go into machine learning, because now you can go on Google. So if you go to Google, no, they are what's in their cloud, Google Cloud, you can, there's a lot of courses you can do on your own, and it's free, machine learning techniques and all of those things. So I'll encourage you, like, don't be stuck in one thing, like try other things, right? And then hopefully you'll be able to pick up later on at some point. So I think we've gone way beyond the time that we want. Sandra and Kenneth, for your time, and we really do appreciate everything you've said. So I'm going to hand off back to Obed, and then we will end it here. So Obed, are you on?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
All
I'm
right.
here.
Yeah. Did you want to say something? And then
Okay. So first of all, I would like to say a big thank you to you and your team, each and every one that was on the call. To all the speakers, to Professor Kenneth, to Hermann, to each and every one that was on this call. I think we are so much blessed and privileged to be here to learn so many things from you. I think you will get the recording of this video to share with those that couldn't really join, and then for those who were getting some network issues as well. But all the same, I think it's been a very interactive and a very essential, blissful thing that we've all done. And I hope, like I said earlier, I hope this thing will not just end here, but then will continue. So that those of us that are also churning out, we can know our left and right, and then we can know where to go, and then how to end up being great men of the future as well. So thank you very much once again. I think, yes. Definitely that's all. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I don't know whether any of you want to say anything, but other than that, we'll say goodbye.
Hello, Lawrence.
Yeah, we are finished. Sorry. Do you want to email? Send your question to this email address. Yeah. And I will direct it to whoever it is to, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
Thank you very much,
to all
guys.
the students who came. Okay.
All right.
We appreciate you.
Thank you. All right. Take care then.
Sure.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Okay.